Welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason, and this is the Star Report for July the 6th, 2022, for the next 7 days. And we're going to begin with the sun because it hadn't been doing anything. The sun is in a up sun cycle, but it is in a calm period during that transition. Probably will begin picking up over the next month or so, peaking in August. But there's nothing really happening. There's been no coronal mass ejections or CMEs or solar flares that have left the sun in any significant form heading towards Earth. We did just receive the arrival of the coronal hole, which is the dark spots on the sun, which sort of give a little like water hose sprinkler energy plasma at us. And those hit last night and this morning, so you might feel a little bit of pressure. You might have woken up a little bit earlier than you wanted to, or you might have even slept a little deeper, right? Whatever the pressure is going to do, however your body's receiving that energy is how that would have worked. This week, we are also still into the Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune retrograde. And those things are still effective in sort of causing you to introspect on, your old wounds, on building structure around your spirituality and figuring out what it is that you're meant to be doing. We just celebrated Independence Day here in the United States. And Independence Day is really about claiming your sovereignty. The idea of the Declaration of Independence was free individuals, not free from one nation to go be unfree or in subservience to another nation. And so those are really important things to think about when we're thinking Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and what we're building in our own spirituality and how we're claiming our own sovereignty during that time. The next important thing that's happening in the star system is the 7-7 alignment. And so 7-7 is the sort of Sirian alignment. So the star system Sirius, the dog star, is starting its alignment, which leads us to the August Lion's Gate of 8-8. And so 7-7 is tomorrow, Thursday. And during that 7-7 alignment, we will be the furthest away from the sun all year. And so that distance from that active energy, right? So the sun is an active, what they call masculine energy, where it does something and then or moves in a direction. And then the moon is divine feminine energy, which is magnetic, which pulls. And so when we're farthest away the sun, it sort of leaves us to expand our capacity, where we are less affected or the least affected all year by the constant bombardment of the solar rays, the solar intentions, the activations which we get when we're in the sun. And so that 7-7 alignment is really setting up a month of openings and pouring in of the Sirian energy. And so that Sirius energy of the dog star is really about activation, attunement, refinement. The idea of the Sirius star system is really the technology of the human body, the human soul. And so that energy really plays well into this Pluto, Saturn, Neptune retrogrades that we have, right? So it's this deep inner recreation or recreation of our own individual sovereignty based on our highest goals and intentions of our spirit, right? And so you're having a little bit of problems, probably, you could be, I sometimes have those, where the external world of the 3D reality that you go and work in your daily life that you sort of see on the television and in culture, however connected or disconnected you are, you're still affected by the group hive mind. And so you are sometimes diverted away from the outside interior work of this recreation and being called backwards to question, to decide, do you want to be governed by the physical reality or do you want to be embodied by the spiritual reality of your divine internal soul? That sounds like really heavy stuff for an astrological report on a Wednesday morning, but that's what's really going on. That's the cosmic energy that's happening. So it seems mundane and quiet when you're looking at what's actually happening in the stars. There's not that much going on. But the energy which has sort of been set in place is going to be very intense and start to step on the gas pedal, or kind of like when things get repetitive or when things get continuous, they'll start to wear you down and sort of make you have to focus on these things, right? So this intensity over the next several months, because all the retrogrades are going to be continuing to at least October, Um, and then this sort of solar cycle that's picking up, which is going to, peak in August and maybe be done by October. All this energy at once is sort of gathering on you. And then we have this influx of Sirian from the star system Sirius energy coming to us about activation, about divine humanity, about what it means to be an alchemical as above, so below being. Oh, that's kind of fun as the incense smoke goes right across the screen when I'm talking about spirit. So that 7-7 energy, you might sort of notice a shift, a difference, who knows? And just, for popular culture's sake, the Large Hadron Collider, or the CERN, where they're spinning that thing over several miles, where they're colliding particles into each other, that may or may not have had an effect on you. One of the things to pay attention to just for your own self is, like when the Earth stops or speeds up by a couple nanoseconds, it will mess with your electrical system, how you sort of just connect to reality a little bit. And so that will sort of mess with you, make you feel off kilter, but it won't necessarily be opening black holes to eternal loss or being sucked in as the whole planet or anything like that. But it might start to collapse what would be understanding potentialities into sort of oneness. And so the most metaphysical thing that you might notice would be the increase of Mandela effects, where you remember something differently than what history is recorded, or where you can go research it online that it's something different. And so that happened a couple days ago, so your body should have adjusted already to whatever they're doing over there. And those aren't unique explosions that they're causing in that. Those are just controlled explosions. They're happening in the atmosphere pretty much every day, all the time. So if you want to go down that rabbit hole and listen to tons of people that are talking about that on the internet, that's totally cool. There is something to it, but it would have sort of evened itself out by now because your body is such a good electromagnetic being that it would have already adjusted to the shift of whatever that's caused. And of course, intention within yourself is much more powerful than intention from outside of yourself. So even if you want to assign good or bad intentions to the purveyors of science over there in, I think it's France, right? Wherever CERN is, then whatever you believe about yourself and how you want to control your own body is going to be more powerful than that. Which leads us to the next thing that's happening this week, which is on the 9th. I think that's Saturday. 3 days from now. Sounds like Saturday. Yeah. And so Saturday is the 22 Master Day. And that's just sort of a powerful energy. So if you're off on the weekend and you have that energy to sort of notice, it would be a good time to sort of focus on meditation or any kind of intentions that you want to reset and add energy to it. That 22 Master Day really sort of gives you control, mastery over that intention that you put for that. And then that brings us into, I believe, the end of the week. So I think next Tuesday, Wednesday, we will be entering or having the super full moon. And so the super full moon just means that the moon is as close as it's going to be all month to the Earth, and it'll be full, so they call it a super full moon. And so full moons are always about resets. You go put your crystals out and cleanse them in the moonlight, or charge them in the moonlight, depending on what you want to assign to that, whether it's removing stuff that needs to be off of it or charging with more energy so the stuff that's already on it can work better. That would be something to sort of pay attention to for the super full moon. But I think what's really going on, Jason? Tell us. I think what's really going on, or the most important energy, is still the north node in Taurus, right? And so the nodes, the north and the south, is really where so if this were the Earth of the microphone, the moon, when it spins around the Earth, sort of shifts over time, like a top. And when it comes into the northern hemisphere is when they call it the north node, and when it goes into the southern hemisphere, they call it the south node. So we're in the north node of Taurus, and in the south node of, I believe, Scorpio. And so Scorpio is what we're leaving behind. North node is what we're going towards and what we should be focusing on. And just sort of grand scheme stuff, so you can sort of pay attention to a little bit of cool stuff and have a broader perspective instead of what's happening right now and what's happening this week. What's sort of in general happening over the next, I believe the North Node in Taurus started in January. It'll be there about 18 months, I think, is the duration of a node. And so that North Node in Taurus is really about creating and doing, right? Instead of being and waiting and hoping, it's about acting. And so, and then once, I think we've said this before in the report, once you start acting, then Taurus is like a bull. It's pointed in a direction and it continues to gain momentum and steam, right? And so if you, even if you haven't started to act or you're just now catching this report, when you start to act and you pick up steam as the Taurus is in North Node, right, then you start to have more momentum against the weight of all this cosmic stuff that's happening to us. And then probably by 2023 for sure, we'll really sort of be fully firmly in, depending on when you think the age of Aquarius started, we should be firmly in the age of Aquarius and really leaving behind the age of Pisces. And so, the age of Aquarius is an interesting thing that we want to pay attention to. So Taurus and Aquarius are the two energies I want to talk about really quickly. Maybe I'm not even talking quickly at all, but I want to get into this information because I think it's really good to chew on. And so this northern node in Taurus during the age of Aquarius, what is Aquarius? Lots of people talk about Aquarius as the water bearer, and so they want to talk about the water energy of Aquarius, but it's actually the only cosmic sign which is has a human in it. So it's actually the age of the rise of humanity or the divinity of humanity or the pouring in of spirit or pouring into the spiritual humanity. And so that age of Aquarius where it's the rise of divine humanity means that these retrogrades that we have working for us this week are this really sort of that we need to understand our spiritual selves and create what this age is going to be and help ourselves deal with, recognize, and probably even alchemize the past that we're leaving behind of concrete industrial age, outside of ourselves creations and inside creations. Now, the little caveat is a lot of people are trying to move into the digital age, which is still an external thing, which is almost a hijack of the spirituality because it seems like we get to participate in that. And then that's where you sort of get those ideas of transhumanism, where you would activate ourselves with stuff in our body with machinery or implants and stuff like that. The idea is a divine spirituality of the human body and its physicality shifting or transmuting to less physicality, but not to digitize it, if that would make sense. And so this North Node in Taurus is really alchemically, right? And so as above, so below, what the physical body's, I guess, caveat is, or matching part. I forget the word. It's a really good word. Whatever it is, the neck is where Taurus is when Taurus is in the sky. And so that idea of Taurus, what Taurus does in the physical body is renders what your spirituality is trying to give to your body. And you can think of the mind or the spirit as heaven, and then the body is earth, right? And so what you're trying to do is bring more spirit through your Taurus energy into the earth. So we're gaining this cool momentum to create a spiritual reality based on the cosmic intentions and the cosmic influences, based on what we've always been told that we were supposed to do through all the spiritual lineages, whether you're agnostic, whether you are Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, everything in between, Baha'i, Universalist. All these kinds of things are really about the divinity of the human soul, as above, so below. And so we're really in that age where over these last couple of months moving into 2023 is where we get to take an active direction and point ourselves, right? So point ourselves as an individual because we're trying to claim that independence of 4th of July, of sovereignty, and not removing of one master from outside to the next master, right? So whether that be businesses or denominations or religions or governments, really it's about this new spiritual sovereignty. And then once we all have that, then it's this oneness that sort of comes into the age of Aquarius, where we all understand ourselves as these spiritual beings, and then we have understanding of each other because we understand ourselves. Fun times ahead. So that's a really intense North Node in Taurus during the age of Aquarius explanation. And if you want to know like sort of what lessons or triggers might come up while you're trying to do that, you can always look at South Node in Scorpio and see what those aspects are that you're leaving behind. But I think that's long enough for this report for this week. And so Next week, it might be a little bit different report. It might even be a day late. I haven't really decided on how I'm going to do the report from Alaska. And so stay tuned for that and just look at the social media. And the best way to figure that out is to like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. And then you'll get a notification when a video goes live on that. So I thank you very much for listening to me get really deep into the waters of the Age of Aquarius, which is really about the divine humanity and not the water jar that the human in Aquarius is carrying. And I hope you have a great week. Until next time.